late in the show yesterday, in fact, I had mentioned it a couple of times earlier in the week, and I had seen a movie on HBO a few days ago, and it's called Taking Chance, and it stars Kevin Bacon. And I think it's an indie movie, an independent. I don't think it's a big studio movie, because until I saw it, I had literally never seen it. I'd never heard of it before. And Kevin Bacon's awesome.
Oh, unbelievable.
Tell everybody, because two things. One, because you have two sons in the Marines, you had a markedly more emotional reaction to the movie than did I.
Wow.
And because if I start talking about the movie, I'm going to start crying.
I'm going to cry.
Again. It's an incredible, it's my favorite kind of movie in that it is, and you'll know what I mean, it's a little movie. You know what I mean by that? It's a character study. And it's how one guy, because of these events,
it was bizarre,
around him, he was already a good man, who becomes a better guy and finds a sense of peace. Kevin Bacon is a lieutenant colonel in the Marines, and he finds a sense of peace. This is going to sound odd, through the death of another Marine. Explain to everybody what the movie's about.
He is a colonel in the Marines, and he volunteers to be an escort for a Marine who died in duty by the name of Chance Phelps. And typically colonels don't do this job. This is a job for sergeants and below who are assigned to escort the bodies.
But he volunteered.
Because this boy had roots in his hometown. He's like, this guy originally came from my hometown, so I would like this duty. And they gave it to him. He ends up going to Wyoming, I think, instead.
He thinks the kid's from Colorado.
Right.
But then he realizes he's from another small town in Wyoming that his family just lived for a while in his hometown. But please proceed.
But he has to take like 3 or 4 flights to get to this small town. And each time Chance's body is moved from one flight to the next, is moved via car or however, he is there to check, to verify, and make sure it is Chance's body. He salutes.
Were you aware?
At every time the body moves.
Were you aware of the ceremonies that take place?
No.
The ceremonies of honor performed by one Marine who is accompanying the deceased every time.
Every step of the way.
Every time the body is moved, there is a required protocol of honor.
Absolutely. I knew about the funeral. I mean, I knew they come out and do the 21 gun salute. I knew about all that and the flag and all that, because my father had the flag ceremony at his funeral.
But every single step of the way, every time the body is moved from one plane to another or is taken to a hangar, a storage facility.
One night they had to wait. They had to keep it overnight.
He won't leave the body.
He slept in the hangar on the floor.
He sleeps on the floor next to this kid's, to the dead Marine's body.
He doesn't know these parents. He doesn't know the sister, the brother. He's given the effects of Chance. You know, his cross, his watch, St. Christopher medal, the watch. He's holding these things on. He gets to security at the airport, and they say, "Sorry, you can't take those." He said, "I can't." He has to have those in his possession.
Pardon me again.
The entire time.
Did you know about that? They won't take their jackets off.
Oh, I know about that.
Tell everybody about that. Then we'll go to break and come back and finish.
Okay, Marines have a special code about when they're in public. If they're traveling, they either have to be in what you and I wear, civilian clothes, where they're not recognizable, or they have to be in their dress greens. I don't know what they're called, but that's the jacket. It's the green. And I did that with my son in Dallas. He wore his dress. We were at the big conference there where he got to meet the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. But then when he was traveling,
yes,
and before he met the cheerleaders, he put on his dress greens. And if he's in an airport, he has to have the jacket. It cannot come off. I took a picture one time of one of my sons, and one of the medals was slightly tilted on their uniform. Mama, we cannot print that picture. You cannot put that picture because the uniform is not 100% perfect.
and he wouldn't take his jacket off with the medals, with the other, with the buttons, with
he
all.
said, "Take me to a private room and wand me."
Because he said it would dishonor. It would dishonor the uniform.
What was the point of the movie? Of course, the ending, how he meets the parents and he becomes kind of a new man himself. But when
he finds a peace, because to this point he doesn't feel, because he's never been in combat, because he's an office guy and an officer. But he finds a new peace. Yeah, he doesn't feel like he's a real Marine,
right? Because he hadn't been in combat
until he meets the Korean War vet.
Yeah,
and he says, "Son, you're just as much a Marine as anybody else who's ever worn that uniform."
What hit me the hardest in this movie, because I've heard my sons use this phrase, he goes to the funeral director when it's a closed casket, but there was one of his best friends wanted to put something in the casket, and he and Kevin Bacon's character told the funeral director, "And I need to see that his uniform and he is squared away." My sons have said that everything must be perfect.
And that's the term they use.
Squared away. Maybe in transport, something got shifted or whatever. Even though no one would ever see this body, he wants to make sure this Marine is squared away and everything's perfect.
Because that's the way that Marine would want it.
And that's the way the Marines want it.
It's called Taking Chance. Woo. It's Kevin Bacon.
I cried the entire time.
It is an awesome movie.